Narcissism.
Yep.
Personality qualities include thinking very highly of oneself, needing admiration, believing others are inferior, and lacking empathy for others.
So, context. I've been speaking to a lot of guys recently who have been called this thing called narcissism, narcissistic, or whatever it is. You're a narcissist. So there's a few things for me that I'm just like a little bit concerned about when people just start throwing labels. Number one, most of us don't even know what it means. So you're calling us it, and it's like, oh, we've actually got to research this thing, and we don't always understand what we're talking about. Number two, most people will demonstrate some of these qualities, one or more, at a certain point in their life.
Yeah.
So we all have, there will be a point in our life where we lack empathy, or we might feel like we need some sort of validation or whatever it is.
We have narcissistic traits.
Yeah, traits that we, experience or we show. Number three, point three would be, what do people hope to achieve by giving someone a label? Have they got a care package for that?
Yeah. Most importantly, yeah.
Have you got a solution, or are you just going to throw the label and then expect someone to change? Or if you don't expect someone to change because they're a narcissist, you're still fucking with that person.
Yeah.
So what does that say about you? You know someone's a narcissist, but you want to engage in that. And this is what I'm saying, like, I'm hearing people in relationships like, my partner keeps calling me a narcissist. Okay, interesting. So it's just like, for me, I was thinking, I want to bring it up because I think this goes to a point about, and let's explore it. I think it's important to explore it in terms of like the state of the relationship between men and women, and things being said and done. So like, for instance, I hear it a lot, and I heard it last week where I was speaking to an individual, and they were like, yeah, I called him a narcissist, and I was like, do you believe that? Yeah. She's like, yeah. I was like, all right, cool. What else? And then she went into it and she was just like saying, yeah, I wished him this, and I said this to him, and I was like, okay. So I said, what you said kind of, wow, like some of the stuff she was saying, like, I hate him, and he's a this, and he's a that, and he's a pussy, and da. Again, you're saying these things, but when you say you're a pussy, you're actually reinforcing that kind of feminine, kind of like misogyny type of thing. So I was like, all right, cool. So if he gets mad, can he punch you in the mouth? She was like, yeah, of course not. I'm saying, so we have to be mindful that just because a man you're not hitting a man, it doesn't mean it doesn't impact on a man. So like, a man's power is in his physicality. So.
You can hit with words and it still hurt.
And so I was trying to explain the concept of how men and women, from what I'm observing now, receiving and giving information. So that men tend to, and this isn't all men, but from what I'm observing, I'm seeing men respond, they like to get it out physically. Like, they're like, I don't want to fucking chat shit to you, I want to fight, let's get it out. But a woman her tongue will be spiked to the point where many men I know, who I've been speaking to as well, because I'm like, I'm interested in this. They're like, the things she said, bro, I can't forget them. But she'll forget. And I'm like, but if he used that same thing against, like, to her, it will be like, I can't believe you said that to me. So it's just how they deal with their frustration. Just an observation through the mini kind of research I'm doing. But there is a thing that keeps kind of coming up, and I'm sure it's a program, because I'm like, out of interest, where do you think they get it? That TikTok, bro. That TikTok has got them. Yeah. But it's also got men in like from the younger age as well, and like, so I'm just like, interesting, because we're we're in that place again where it's like moral high ground. I'm going to create a label that creates a division.
Yeah.
But actually, are we really thinking about what we're saying? And actually, by saying these terms like you're a narcissist, what actually do you want to happen? Do you want change?
What comes after?
Do you want solution? All of that. So I just wanted to get your view on, have you heard these kind of terms? Are you noticing it?
I'm sure I've heard it somewhere, but not enough to actually remember.
Because clearly you're not a narcissist.
No, I definitely have narcissistic traits.
I think we all do, to be fair.
I definitely have narcissistic traits, but I think it's how you apply them.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get what I mean? So I don't use it to belittle or make someone feel inferior or smaller or anything like that, because I don't really feel like that. I don't feel like I'm better than anyone. I don't think that I'm more powerful than anyone. I don't think I'm smarter than anyone. I don't have that in me to give you.
But they might say, well, that's your narcissist because you lack empathy.
What am I supposed to do? what am I supposed to do? Like, I'm not gonna, this is the thing, innit? Based on what you've just said, people can find any reason to call you anything.
Yeah, and that is what I want to get to.
Which is absolutely fine. Like, you don't need much, or you don't need to say much for people to create this idea of you in their head. Do you know what I mean? It's just do you have the energy to change their perspective? If you're asking me, absolutely not.
No.
Like, as I said, me, upon meeting you, I don't really want to speak to you anyway. So for you to get the idea that I'm a narcissist without speaking to me and having a conversation with me, you can keep that. You get what I mean?
But and that's an important point, because when you're saying that, the problem we have at the moment is we've been given a kind of window of how we should work with each other, right? So if you're saying, for instance, I don't want to speak, it's not we instantly will create a why. Why don't you want to speak? Behind the what. And sometimes that I don't want to speak is more powerful than actually speaking.
Who am I speaking to?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because when you start asking the question,
yeah,
like, who am I speaking to? Am I speaking to you, the subconscious, the fear, the love, the...
Come on, bro. All these things matter.
Mm.
And I'm not necessarily gonna, or I don't necessarily have the energy to take it there. The point is that just based on the strength that I know that we're at war in a grand scheme, and, you know, psychologically we've all been damaged and we've all been turned on ourselves and ultimately turned on each other, I don't really think that narcissism is the problem. I think the war is the problem. I think how we got into this state is the problem. I think the fact that we can't see it is the problem. I think that the fact that we can't see past the individual that's saying it is the problem. Like, there's so many problems other than the fact that you can just label me a narcissist and not actually care, why am I like this? What made me like this? See, I want to get to that part rather than I'm just a narcissist.
Yeah.
So it's like, what are we talking about? And what I have noticed is that, as always, as the person who sees it in a way, we can't get past that part. The part that you just explained, no, it's like we're still at the place where we can't get past that part. We can't get past the fact that I am not your enemy.
And also, part of it, like, because I find it interesting, because it's like, well, if you take away the labeling of it, right? So you say, okay, cool, that person's a narcissist, right? But you've chosen to be, you know they're a narcissist.
Yeah.
You've chosen to be in a space with them. So what are you saying? You enjoy being in a space with a narcissist, and you're creating it. You're not going to take the responsibility for creating it.
You can't even say
it. You can't even.
Because to acknowledge it is to highlight that you've got a big problem.
You've got a part
and
in
it's
it.
not him.
No.
It's not fully him. Once you acknowledge the things that you would never say to yourself, like, oh shit, I enjoy being in this space, in that moment you recognize you're the problem too. So then you got to ask yourself, do you like being in this space? Do you like toxicity? And the reality is, it's all that you know.
They don't like it, but they do like it. Is what they say. So like they'll say, I'm like, have you ever had a good boy? Yeah, it was boring though.
You see that?
Okay.
That don't make sense, Jay.
Yeah.
What don't make sense is how you can like it and not like it. Do I like bad food that tastes amazing? Yes.
Yeah.
Is it good for me?
No.
Would I like to stop? Yes. Can I stop? Not yet. Do you get what I mean? It's simplicity. I was watching something. One of the bros, legend, he said, confusion is the devil. Simplicity is God.
Yeah.
So when they're talking about yes and no, what are you dealing with?
But because they will say they don't want a good boy. It's too easy. I don't know. Is it too easy to control? It's like,
I know.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then they don't want a bad boy.
Yeah.
But they want a bad boy because they like the edginess. And it's like, and then you complain.
What does that sound like to you though? When they say that?
To me, it sounds like madness.
That sounds like
It
they don't
sounds
know
like,
what they want.
yeah,
So they've
because
gotten exactly
confusion.
what they want.
It's literally confusion.
So they've gotten exactly what they want because you got to be clear with what your intentions are.
Yeah.
You got to be clear with what you want.
But
you know what I mean?
It sounds like the program in them has created it. So, because in your mindset, if you was clear and you had a clear channel, you would not create a space where you label someone a narcissist and you be in that space with them. Do you know what I mean? But I don't think labeling anyone, like when we read the terms, you want to be admired at points. You want to feel like you're royal at points. You want to. Sometimes you need to not empathize because you might be in survival mode out of trauma. So to label it that as someone as that, rather than experiencing the different parts of what narcissism could be or parts of it, I think is the problem, because you don't then unpick. Actually, I'm not feeling right now. So if the man says, I'm not connecting. Let's talk about it. Do you know what I'm saying? There's a chance to, but it's just label, close the thing, and then there's a further division. Yeah. Do you get what I'm saying? And that's what I'm worried about, because I'm hearing multiple men and the same sort of template. You're a narcissist. You don't like women.